Welcome to The Explainer. Today we are tackling a massive topic, the echo effect unlocking infant language potential. We're diving straight into some absolutely game-changing research that's going to fundamentally rethink how we communicate with babies. If you've ever wondered how to build a literal genius-level vocabulary in your little one, you are in exactly the right place. By the end of this, we're going to cover a ridiculously simple 3-minute trick that can completely replace those exhausting, draining routines where you feel pressured to be constantly entertaining your baby.
We so often operate under this assumption that the absolute best way to help a child learn to talk is by basically becoming a walking, talking dictionary. We think, okay, we've got to bombard them with words, names, and labels from the second they wake up till they go to sleep. But here's the reality. A one-sided monologue actually causes a baby's language centers to just tune out. They shut down. When you respond to your baby's cute little coos with these long strings of adult sentences like, "Oh, are you so happy today? What are we going to do now?" You obviously mean well, but you're actually creating what's called audio clutter. It makes it incredibly difficult, almost impossible really, for their developing brain to distinguish the important sounds from just everyday background noise.
1 million. I want you to take a second and really just absorb that number. 1 million. During the first 3 years of life, while you might personally feel like your own brain is turning to absolute mush from lack of sleep, your baby's brain is out there creating over 1 million neural connections every single second. It is in a state of extraordinary plasticity. Every single interaction you have is literally laying down the basic biological templates for how your child is going to process language and navigate social interactions for the rest of their entire lives. That is huge.
So the absolutely crucial point here is how we actually utilize that million connection per second speed. Think of the baby's brain as a super active construction site. The foundation is literally being poured right now as we speak. So what happens if you skip the foundation and try to just build the roof first? Well, we all know the structure inevitably collapses when it has to support real weight later on down the line, like in school. Teaching the ABCs or drilling vocabulary to a tiny toddler is exactly like building that roof first. Instead, if we want to build a truly brilliant mind, we need to focus on the underground roots of communication first.
And that brings us right to the core mechanism. Serve and return. This is a rhythmic, biological exchange of communication. Listen, your child's brain is not wired to learn from a one-sided lecture, and they are certainly not wired to learn from expensive flashcards or those high-tech educational apps. Nope. They are biologically hardwired to learn through connection, repetition, and, quite frankly, joy. It's a back-and-forth rhythm. They serve, you return. You serve, they return. This rhythmic exchange is the absolute non-negotiable requirement for strengthening those millions of neural pathways we were just talking about.
Okay, so enter Helen Hoffman's 3-minute echo trick. This is a real game changer. It is profoundly effective at literally tripling a child's vocabulary, and the wild part, it consists of just 2 incredibly simple steps. Step 1, copy the exact sound, and step 2, the 10-second pause. I know, it sounds almost too basic, right? Like there's no way that works. But the neuroscience happening beneath the surface of these 2 steps is just spectacular. Let's break them down. The science behind step 1 is honestly fascinating. When your baby makes that nonsense sound, maybe they just say "ba" or let out a little squeal, instead of jumping in with adult words, you simply copy that exact sound right back to them. You literally echo them. Why? Well, it all comes down to mirror neurons. These specialized brain cells act as the absolute rock-solid foundation for language, empathy, and social intelligence. When you mirror their sound, you are sending a high-voltage signal straight into their nervous system. You're telling them, hey, what you did just worked. You have the power to create a response. You're meeting them exactly where they are.
And then we hit step 2, the 10-second pause. Now, I'll be totally honest with you, the source material explicitly notes this is usually the hardest part for most parents. After you echo their sound, you just have to stop. Don't keep talking, don't ask a follow-up question, just look them right in the eyes and wait. Think of this like learning to dance. You could watch videos of dancing all day long, but you're never going to develop intuitive timing until you actually step onto the floor with a partner who responds to your movements in real time, right? The 10-second pause is you inviting your child to lead the dance. Their prefrontal cortex, the area governing planning and attention, it desperately needs that specific time to process the interaction and return the serve. If we fill every single silence with our own voice, they never actually get to practice their return.
So, let's look at a highly practical swap for a daily routine, like say a diaper change. Instead of the classic well-intentioned parent monologue where you might say something like, "I'm changing your diaper, it's a clean diaper, okay, we're all done," try a totally different approach. Give one short, clear sentence. Say, "The water is warm," and then you just wait. Wait 5 to 10 seconds. By doing this, you are completely cutting out that audio clutter we talked about, and you're giving their brain the crucial space it needs to actually participate. But you might be wondering, what exactly are you waiting for during that 10-second pause? Well, you're waiting for their serve. And here's the kicker. A baby's serve isn't necessarily a word. You really have to watch their face and their body language. Do they suddenly kick their legs? Do they look intently at the water or the wipe? Maybe they make a tiny little ooh sound? Whatever that response is, that right there is their serve. When they do it, you acknowledge it by echoing the sound or mirroring their physical expression. You are actively validating their participation in this little conversation. Now, before we explore the deeper psychological impact of all this, I want to mention a fantastic resource for parents wanting to build on these cognitive advantages. And that's today's sponsor, Phonics Foundations. The reason this program is so highly recommended in this space is that it goes way, way beyond just teaching a child how to read. It actually stimulates the precise neurodevelopment necessary for superior intelligence and critical thinking down the road. It's perfectly designed to work seamlessly with your child's natural brain architecture, creating this unshakable cognitive foundation for life. It really is a perfect companion to the neurodevelopmental strategies we're discussing today. And speaking of building foundations properly, I know it is so incredibly tempting to push academic symbols early on. A lot of us try pointing to the letter A and saying, A says ah, way before the age of 3, thinking, we're giving our kids a massive head start. But letters are highly abstract. The developing brain stores this drilled, memorized information very shallowly because there's no deeper cognitive framework to anchor it to yet. Instead, the real secret sauce here is symbolic thinking through pretend play. Literally just using a wooden block as a phone or a cardboard box as a race car. This teaches your child the absolutely vital concept that one thing can stand for another thing entirely. And guess what? That is the actual core neurological skill that reading requires later on. As we start to pull all these concepts together, I want you to remember this. Your job isn't to be a teacher, but to be a secure base for their exploration. Honestly, this is the emotional core of this entire explainer. When you use the echo trick, you are doing so much more than just building up a vocabulary list. You are signaling to your child that you are completely present, you are attuned to them, and most importantly, you are safe. You're teaching them that they do not have to process this giant, overwhelming world all by themselves. When they get overloaded, they can quite literally borrow your nervous system to regulate themselves. Ultimately, this simple 3-minute habit of echoing and then pausing builds a child who is not only a faster talker, but a fundamentally more confident communicator. By actively shifting your whole approach from talking at your baby to talking with your baby, you're teaching them that their voice has immense power. You are physically wiring their brain for the rhythm and the patterns of storytelling long before they ever have the actual vocabulary to tell one. You are making them a true active partner in their own learning journey. So, I want to leave you with a bit of a provocative question to ponder today. Which part of your day is going to be your echo window? Think about your daily routine right now. Are you going to carve out those 3 minutes during the morning feeding? Or maybe during an outdoor discovery walk? Pick that window, apply the echo trick, and just watch the magic happen. If you found this breakdown insightful and you want more science-backed, structured strategies like this, make sure to seek out the Brain Bonds community. Together, we can build those deep, vital neurological connections that truly set our kids up for a lifetime of success. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and as always, happy learning.